everyone, this is FantasyEsque and welcome back to the Sims 4 Vampire Amazon Royal Saga with the Salazar Coven. We are gathered in the Goddess Temple with our ladies for the Day of the Goddess. Now, I don't know if this is Lexi's first time hosting, maybe second? Things are starting to become a little bit blurry because, as you guys have mentioned repeatedly, so much has happened this generation, and so much is happening. I swear, these kids are going to have a ton of history to remember from their childhood by the time they hit next gen. Probably the most chaotic childhood out of all the generations we've had. There's been so many events that not even all the kids have lived through all of them. It's like the different age groups are living through different events. Or well, I feel like at this point, Juno and Kyra especially, I suppose even to an extent Eve, because she kind of falls into the older group, but I feel like that particular set of three, they've been through just so much. It's almost as though from beginning to end, they've kind of experienced all of the drama that's happening. And I think they've also, if I'm not mistaken, lived through all of the ladies, whereas the younger kids that are coming in, they've been joining slowly under the new members that we've had, like Lady Lexi and what's her name? What's the redhead's name? This is so bad. I can't even remember her name. See, this is what I'm saying, guys. She needs to make friends, okay? I said this in a previous episode. Our redhead, Miss Bennett, needs to make... See, I remember... Is it even Bennett? Is her last name even Bennett? She needs to make some... Lucille, there we go. Lady Lucille. She needs to make friends. Because, I'm having a hard time remembering what her name is. The others are probably having a hard time remembering what her name is as well. Anyways, before we dive into what's happening today, which is going to be definitely more of a relaxed episode than the past couple of ones, let's quickly go through what happened in the mini-movie because we had some incestuous drama. So, our youngsters, our one visitant youngster who is quite rebellious, Princess Eve, was hanging out at Lagatha Lounge with Delphi and Delphi's demonic brother George and Eve's very own prince brother Daryl. So those four, they kind of formed their own couples amongst each other, and it is quite a unique situation from everyone else. We've had Juno, fall in love with her cousin, but that was a cousin. This, however, yeah, it's getting a bit of House of the Dragon in here, but apparently in the Visitant Lands, multiple marriages, incestuous relationships, these kind of things occur, they happen, and Eve has decided that she is going to go down this path. It feels normal to her. She's grown up hearing about it because she's had access to the Visitant Lords growing up and, their stories, so she feels more connected to that lifestyle than she does with the Salazar lifestyle, even though she's quite determined to get the throne. And she was kind of expressing, along with Delphi, that, finally things have died down and they get some time alone with each other, because around the others, they kind of have to pretend like they're normal within the Coven, because the Coven, they're not going to understand this, okay? They're not going to understand this. And I cannot ship either of these couples in my right mind, because come on, it's gross. But they're doing what they're doing, and it makes the story exciting, so I let it go. But Eve was kind of glad that finally they've got alone time. And then, who was it, Daryl? I think he said that, it's been harder and harder for them to slip away because with all the deaths that have happened, everyone's been quite suspicious of the visitants. And so, that's Eve. And obviously in that regard, it's going to be visitant customs and such. And the visitant practices, which is, kind of what they're doing and what they're into. Nobody's really going to understand it or condone it. And then Delphi was finally getting to spend some time with George. And before we thought maybe it was one-sided, but no, George, I mean, he's also demonic, but George and Delphi, they were also pining for each other. And so, yeah, it was creepy, but they kind of had a little get-together there. And even though George, as well as Daryl and Delphi, they all belong to Kyra's companions now because, you know, the deaths that have happened, they've kind of shifted up. But they do slip away from time to time and spend some moments with Eve, because only in her company can they basically be with each other, right? They can spend time in their couples, because Eve, she kind of introduced that whole concept to the youngsters, and she's the only princess who's going to be accepting of it, because obviously she's practicing it. And so that's their escape time almost. So she is still trying to exercise control over some of the other members, even though they don't belong in her companion group anymore. And then at the end, she kind of said, the only way love stories like ours will be allowed to exist is if I am queen. My sisters will condemn us, like they won't understand any of this. So, you know, keep that in mind. So she kind of said that to Delphi and to George. So if you guys don't want to be pining over each other all the time and you want to openly see each other and all of those kind of things, the only way that's going to happen is if I am queen. So she's still trying to, get her own followers, and she's trying to hold on to some of the people that have slipped away through these kind of things. It's like her way of exercising control over them by being accepting of certain things that others might not be. And with Eve, I feel like before I was wondering really the relationship between her and the Coven Roses, because we know there's a bit of bad blood there, literally, because her father's blood was spilled to make sure Delphi in particular was born. But I think with the way Eve is, she can be quite tunnel-visioned, narrow-minded, ambitious, I suppose, is the better way of saying it. But she has goals, and her goal essentially is to be on the throne, right? She's not going to do anything crazy to achieve that. She's going to abide by, the Salazar way of doing things, the Salazar succession. But within that system, she's going to try her best and do everything she feels like she needs to so that she has a good foothold of this potential opportunity. So I think with her, making connections and building a group of followers is far more important than holding on to a grudge over someone that's no longer here. So yes, she had a lot of respect for her father, and she looked up to her father, and even to an extent that identity of him being a prince and the privilege it gives her, being the only one with both parents being royal. I think that aside, Eve feels as though it's more important for her to bring the Coven Roses to her side than to let them slip away because of, yet another problem they're having. And I feel like it's maybe her way of getting back at no, she can't get back at herself, getting back at Kyra and Juno, because she's, not letting them fully get close to Delphi. Like previously, Delphi, threw her brother under the bus, and then Kyra was befriending her along with Diana, and, they were saying thank you for what she did and whatnot. So it almost seems as though she was going towards the purist side, but I feel like maybe seeing this, Eve has very quickly given her an outlet to come back to, being a pro-visitant and saying that, yes, you can, do all of those things to be loyal to the court, but at the same time, is the court going to be loyal to you? They're not going to let you do what you want to do or feel the things you want to feel. I am the safe zone for you and your love story, so I'm really the one that you should be aligning yourself with. So that's kind of what happened in the first portion. There's just so much to talk about because I have opinions and feelings, and I'm sure we all do. And then we had the most exciting part for me, really, was Eve, in relation to that, meeting up with Bloom and Ice. So they were still at Lagatha Lounge, but towards the night, once the boys had kind of gone back to their homes, Eve arranged for... Geez, my throat. She arranged for Myron to bring the youngsters over so that she could spend time with them, and that's completely fine because, she is their sister, and Myron was supervising as the soldier and the commander who's stationed at the creature cradle. And, he was kind of standing in the background while Eve was socializing along with Delphi with the youngsters. And guys, beautiful, beautiful Bloom has aged up into a child. She has moved into the castle, and she looks so much like Kyra did when Kyra was young. I'm excited to see how she's going to pan out once she's a teen, but obviously we have a while to go. Regardless, she looks gorgeous. Like, with Kyra, when she was young, we could just tell she was going to be beautiful, and I can just tell Bloom is going to be beautiful. I got to see her as a toddler, like, briefly, when Ice aged up into a toddler, and kind of compare the two of them, and I do think Ice is cute, but I think Bloom she was cuter as a toddler than Ice is, and as a child she just looks so beautiful, so I think she's going to be like Kyra number 2, which will be exciting. But Eve was visiting her sisters, younger sisters, and she was trying to get them, I feel like, over to her side as, they're getting a little bit older, especially with Bloom ready to move in. Like, before she even came into the castle, Eve wanted to meet up with them so that she can get Bloom and Ice in the mindset that I am the sister that you are going to be close to when you move into the castle. Like, we three are going to be really close to each other. But then also, she's got this superiority, because not only is, she wanting them to be on her side, she's wanting them to be like her lackeys, almost. Kind of like their fathers were captains to her father. So, they are her sisters, but she was kind of using Delphi as a way to give this information to the youngsters. But Bloom, probably, they got briefed by Myron before they met her. And so Bloom, she said, was it Eve? I think Eve was saying, you guys have grown into lovely young girls. And Bloom said, thank you, sister. And then she corrected herself, like, I mean, your highness. And then Ice was confused. She was like, not sister. And then Delphi jumped in and she was saying, well, she's special, of course. Her father was a prince. And then Eve let that sit before she jumped in, and she was saying, don't scare them, Delphi. They're still my precious sisters. I can't wait for you guys to move into the castle. Like, we'll be very close, the three of us. So, yeah, Bloom, she's really excited to move in as well, so she can be really proactive around Eve. And I feel like in the instance and the circumstance, she met Eve and maybe the stuff she's heard and, her own identity and stuff, I think she sees Eve as the leader in their siblingship, because, she's also grown up hearing the stories of the prince and her fathers, and because her father's, her father, and Ice's father, they are alive still, they would have visited and told stories about, their service to the prince. And so I feel like they also would have instilled in their daughters that Eve is kind of the continuation of the visitant bloodline, like the visitant royalty, so they should follow her. And I feel like they're gonna join the castle kind of in that mode already, that Eve is the one they should be looking up to. So I'm quite excited to see that. We'll take a closer look at Bloom in a second here, and then also I'll bring over Ice, and I don't know if we've had a look at like the Second Son read. I definitely want to do that. But okay, let's dive in and get started with the Day of the Goddess. So all of the ladies, they have been doing their prayers. Lexi, she is going to make the offering first, of course. What am I saying? Words fail me sometimes, guys. When you talk a lot, you tend to forget certain words. Okay, Lexi, we need to go ahead and see who your second is going to be before you head out and make your offering. Okay, let's take a look at who she has the least relationship with. And it seems Eve, Princess Eve, is the one she has the least relationship with. Okay, hopefully Eve is fine. It would be a total shame if she died. Now, one of you lovelies asked me a question that I want to address in terms of the princesses and like the 6 slots we have. So you were saying, if one of the princesses dies, do the ladies get to breed again? And the answer to that question is no, they do not. So with the birth of the 6th girl, the breeding season is officially over. So that means no other female is getting pregnant now. If if one of the princesses dies, then they will be replaced by new blood in the next generation. So that's kind of how things are going to work. The only time we may have a breeding within this generation is, for example, if we play long enough for Delphi to become an adult, then she's obviously gonna, continue her line. So that's the way things are working now. But okay, Eve is gonna be her second. The other thing with Eve, the reason why I found her interaction with Bloom and Ice especially interesting is because she dislikes children. Along with not wanting to continue her bloodline, she just doesn't have time or patience for children. So it makes it especially intriguing for me that she's putting so much effort into getting close to Bloom and to Ice. It's not necessarily out of affection, it's because she wants to be the first one to build a connection with them when they come to the castle, because she's kind of realizing that she expected Diana to just follow her, but she didn't make as much of an effort, and Diana ended up going towards Kyra and Juno, and she doesn't want a repeat of that. So she's, being proactive and trying to get Bloom and Ice to her side before they even move in. But okay, Lexi, let's come here and let's make your offering, and then we'll go ahead and pray for the coven, wish for blessings upon the coven. We'll go ahead and do that. And hopefully everyone is going to be a-okay, because we have had way too many deaths. I don't think we can deal with any more. Okay. Let's wish for blessings of happiness upon the coven. Okay. What's going on? Was that a success? That may have been a success. Excellent. Okay. She can head on back inside. Let's just head on back inside. We'll bring Eve out. Eve is gonna do her part now. Wait, hold on. We need to make an offering. And then we are going to bless, not bless, make wish. Yeah, wish for blessings upon the coven. So let's go ahead and do that, Eve. She's really in the spotlight. She really is. I mean, this is risky. Being chosen to ask for blessings and make offerings is risky business, but she's in the firing line. Okay, let's go ahead, make her wish, and more or less, I think she's in the safe zone. Yeah, she's in the safe zone. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now, yeah, she's not happy from that, but hey, at least the wishing well did not take a life. So in that regard, all is good. But okay, I'm actually gonna get the youngsters set up. I'll get them all lined up, and then we'll take a look at them, because this is some exciting stuff. We have our 3 youngsters lined up, guys. Look at how cute everyone looks. But let's start with Princess Bloom. I truly feel like she is just absolutely gorgeous, just like Kyra. I mean, when she was a toddler, she was so darn adorable, but Yeah, I feel like she's probably going to be, alongside Kyra, one of the most prettiest Sims. But once she's a teenager, I suppose we'll get to see whether Kyra's the prettier one or she's the prettier one. But I kind of love this dynamic between the two of them. It's kind of cool though, because Kyra and Juno, if you think about it, they've got pretty much exactly the same genes, but Kyra, the older one, ended up being the prettier one. And the same thing is happening with the Visitant sisters, who have like the exact same genes essentially because their fathers are twin brothers. The older one, Bloom, is the prettier one from what I'm gathering here, but just look at how gorgeous she looks. Look at this. Stunning. She is absolutely stunning. And the trait she randomized when she aged up was active. So, she is a very, very active child. I feel like following in the bloodline of, her father. And I do feel like with Bloom, she is especially proactive in trying to impress Eve and get close to Eve and, being capable enough for Eve, because it's been instilled into her by probably her father and, Eve herself, that Bloom's life essentially is supposed to be in service to Eve. So, yeah, she is kind of like loyal to the bone at this point in her life. And then we have her younger sister, Ice. Oh, geez, Ice. Look at her! Now, Ice actually has freckles. She's got freckles on her nose, and she looks so adorable. Look at that. No, she looks so cute. So cute. But yeah, they're essentially the same. But in appearance, they do look different. I will say. You guys already know this. But yeah, Bloom, I saw them briefly. I thought we would get to compare like the toddlers side by side. Because when I gave Ice a makeover, Bloom was still a toddler. So I could kind of compare the two. But then when I was setting up to do kind of their scene in the mini movie, suddenly Bloom aged up, so I had to give her a makeover. And I couldn't do the comparison in game, unfortunately, or in the mini movie. So yeah, I personally did get to compare the two of them. But yeah, it's Bloom for me. It's Bloom for me, guys. I think Bloom may be my favorite, we'll have to see. But I don't think Ice is going to be able to surpass her, at least in my heart. And then we have Reed Dravage. So he is the last baby boy that was born, and he is like the second son. So he's got the characteristic golden hair, he's got the light skin, he's also got freckles, and he has green eyes. So he's also a very cute kid. Now, I don't know, guys, but if you kind of compare the toddlers, I feel like sometimes you can kind of see who is potentially going to be attractive when they grow up, because they're just more cuter when they're younger. But it might be mean of me, but I feel like Reed is the cuter toddler out of Ice and him. And I can totally believe that because his mother was flippin' gorgeous. So I feel like he may turn out to be a very handsome kid when he's older. We'll have to see. But also, I was going through my screenshots and I found a screenshot, just the one that I took of Sage and Griffin in game when they grew up into teens. And I didn't realize that we would one day face the time where they did not exist because they had died. But, that got me in the feels. That screenshot got me in the feels. I'm actually thinking I will put it up at some point on our community board, just so everyone can appreciate my two favorite males of this entire generation. I wonder who's going to be my favorite next generation, because I thought we would have them around for a while, and I was actually pretty excited. But apparently, not the case. Not the case. Okay, Bloom. You be cute. You be you. Actually, I haven't even... What am I doing? Oh, hold on a second. Not there. Okay, autonomy is on full. I was like, did I set it? Did I set it? I did in fact. But the Day of the Goddess is over, so we can cancel that, which is absolutely fine. Reed, why are you sad? I probably know why, but still. Okay, we'll get the queen to snuggle up with Ice. Can we snuggle with Ice? And, no. Reed. You know what? I feel like Guinevere is gonna snuggle Reed. Just because she was involved with Lagatha, and that's Lagatha's son. So out of everyone here, I feel like she might be the one to give him attention the most. And then comfort him as well. He's probably like missing his mother. I feel like he was old enough to know his mother, but suddenly she's gone, and he only knew her for a very brief time. But, having lost her own sons, I feel like maybe Guinevere would consider Reed almost a son of her own. That would actually be quite sweet. Okay, Queenie coming through to give a hug to Ice. But I don't think, like, even with Bloom and Ice, Eve obviously is being proactive with them because she's worried that they're going to become like Diana. But I don't think Kyra and Juno would want to get close to Bloom and Ice. Like, they think differently because, they have a problem with the Visitants. And the visitant that has caused them the most pain has been Azora, like to the both of them. And Azora, she had the purple hair and the purple eyes. So as far as they're concerned, even if they have the light skin, Bloom and Ice, they, have the strong characteristics and the coloring of a visitant. And that's just, they can't ignore that. But Guinevere, oh, she's over here with Reed. No. Go comfort Reed. Comfort the poor kid. Oh, this is so cute. It's sad, but it's also adorable. Okay, and then the Queen with Ice. Yep. Wonderful. Wonderful. Also, I am realizing, guys, that... Yeah, I am realizing that this one here needs to have her reading done at some point. And I will definitely find time to arrange that. Are we going to do it this episode? I'm not entirely sure, because there are a few things that I want to do first. And if we have time, we might do her reading at the end. First thing is with Eden. She's been wanting to be mischievous with Princess Kyra, and I kind of want to do that. I feel like the Queen is wanting to lift Kyra's spirits because she knows how hard Channing's death has kind of hit her. She wants to lighten things up a little bit, so let's do a bit of mischief. Do you want to prank her? Yeah, we'll try and prank her. I'll give her a little bit of a scare, which is probably not the best way to lift her spirits, but hey. And this is, I suppose, not that surprising. I feel like with Kyra, from a very young age, like the Queen's almost like, she's always been quite comfortable with Kyra, joking around. We know the Queen's quite childish, but she's tried to keep her demeanor as a queen with the other kids, whereas with Kyra, she's been the most comfortable, kind of letting her hair down and being herself. But also, I think it's interesting to note that recently the Queen has actually become, she's actually become the closest to Juno. And I don't think that's the Queen being closest to Juno. Like, there's different ways I interpret these relationships depending on context and story, but I feel like in this instance, it's more so that the Queen has, in her heart, accepted the fact that even though Kyra will probably always be her favorite daughter, Juno seems to be the one who's taking on responsibility more, or she seems to be the one who is showing the most capability, especially as they, getting closer to that point where the queen's gonna have to give up the throne. I think she's noticing that Juno, like, her hard work is paying off. She is kind of the one who's keeping things together and doing things. So the queen has been noticing that. And probably, Guinevere has been giving feedback to her as well in regards to that. So, good on Juno. Good on Juno. But at the same time, the queen, I feel like, can never be comfortable around Juno, or not as comfortable as she can be with Kyra. I feel like with Juno, she has more of a formal relationship. So yeah, that is that. And the other thing I wanted to get done is with Catalea. So Catalea, she has been wanting to woohoo with Eden. Now I feel like with everything going around, she's, they've been kind of busy, and then also with the new members that have been joining, she's getting a bit insecure with her relationship with Eve and like the control she has over Eve, and she wants to reestablish that. So she's gonna try and get some alone time with her as soon as possible, so that she can fix the gap she feels like she and Eve have. Because in Kyra's mind, in Catalea's mind, the way she exercises influence over Eve is if she has like a physical relationship with her, an attachment with her. And when too much time goes by and that isn't happening, Catalea starts being a bit paranoid, and she starts getting concerned and sensitive about that. Because if you think about it, they haven't really had an honest relationship at all. It's been just on Catalea's side, it's been seduction, and it's been this and that, and nothing like, genuine. There hasn't been a lot of trust, basically. And the thing is, Catalea has had to intervene in the queen's relationship with other people and, break their time up and them up. Well, she couldn't with Catherine, but, she had to intervene on their relationship to build something with her. So she feels as though, why isn't that possible with someone else? Like, if I can do it, then someone else can do it as well. Because the queen didn't really resist at all. So she doesn't have a great track record. It's not like she's going to try and resist someone else either if they do make a move on her. And especially with Lucille, I think Catalea is a little bit wary of her. She doesn't really know what Lucille is about in the coven just yet. Especially because she hasn't made any friends whatsoever. So yeah, she's been feeling a bit antsy. And this probably will reassure her a little bit more. So good on them. And you know what? Since we do have time, I am going to get our Princess Bloom set up in the temple with the priestess, and then we'll jump back in to see what her reading is. Okay, we are at the temple once more with our priestess and with Princess Bloom to do her reading and see what exactly may be in store for her future. So we're going to get 3 signs from the priestess, and as usual, you guys are going to jump down in the comments and give me the prediction for Bloom's future, your predictions, and then I'll put them all in a Google document to use as inspiration for the stories we create in the next generation. So let's go ahead and get started. I have my notebook already, a notepad next to me so that I can jot this down. Definitely more organized than I was last time. Okay, we're gonna look at Lexi. Oh, jeez, I just forgot. I don't even have headline effects on. How am I supposed to know what the heck she's thinking? There we go. Almost had a disaster, guys. Almost. Okay, first sign that Bloom is getting. Now, is that a dragon? I think that may count as a dragon. So, her first sign is dragon. Okay. That's intriguing. What is her second sign? I mean, does it have... Will dragon have something to do with the priestess line or something to do with the others? Okay, what... I mean, I think that sign has to do with being a bro, is it? Like in the Sims? But I don't know. Maybe... that is so hard. That is so difficult. Like, how am I supposed to interpret that? How am I supposed to interpret that sign? Because there's another hand symbol for outgoing, but I would prefer to interpret this as outgoing. This is hard. I don't know what that is. Like, what is that? You know what? Normally I don't do this. I don't ever do this. But I literally cannot put my finger on what that could be. So I am going to skip that one. And we're going to try and get another sign. Because, like, I don't even know what that could be. Like, I can't even think of an alternate interpretation for bro. So, we're going to skip that sign, okay? Yeah, we're going to skip it. Okay, come on. Give me a second sign that I can understand, Lexi. Come on. None of the other priestesses have confused me this much, honestly. No one else. No one else. Okay, statue. That I can deal with. So we've got dragon, statue for a second sign, and now we need the third sign. What is Princess Bloom's third sign? Lexi? Okay, well, Lexi is her third sign. I wonder what that means. Either something to do with Lexi herself, a part Lexi plays in her life, the memory of Lexi, who knows? Something to do with Lexi. But okay, guys, with that said, let's quickly summarize the signs that we got for Princess Bloom, even though it was, quite confusing. So the signs for Princess Bloom are dragon, statue, and Lexi. So please jump down in the comments, let me know what you guys think each of these signs mean. And we'll see how Bloom's story pans out going forward. Because this is kind of curious. I hope it's not ominous though. I really do, because I really like Bloom. Not gonna lie, I really like Bloom. Hi, okay, that is done and dealt with. I'm gonna see if there's anything else I can work on, and then we might dive back in really quickly before we wrap up the episode. But yeah, I'll give it a bit over here. Okay, I wanted to dive back in real quick with this scene between Eden and Catalea, because Queen Eden, she wants to make out with Catalea, so I thought they could have some time to each other. But more importantly, now that the relationship between Catalea and the Queen has been strengthened, Catalea's got some things on her mind, guys. She's got some things that, she's been trying to work on for a long time. But obviously, firstly, she was competing for the Queen's attention. Things were kind of unstable there. And then this whole visitant thing happened with the composites. But then, apart from, the trouble that's been happening, Catherine died, and so her position was further strengthened in the court and the Queen's life, like in the royal family. So now Catalea, and then, there was a period of insecurity, but now in this episode, having reinforced the intimacy that they have, I think Catalea feels as though it's the right time for her to start motioning for the things she came into the coven for. And like her original reason for being here, and trying to move the ideals of the demon faction ahead, or in trying to help the demon faction now get a foothold in the Empire, since, she herself has managed to secure her own foothold. So we'll be looking a bit more into that when we come back in the next episode. But okay guys, with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.